Okay, today we are talking about the High Priestess, which is the number two of the major arcana in the tarot. We're talking about how the Zoldrake uses that energy to battle against us and to see how we can use that energy to battle back against the Zoldrake. If you don't know what I'm talking about, real quick, Zoldrake is a concept of a energetic collective unconscious egregore that I believe I have discovered that is basically the net sum of all of the things that keep people fat, keep people lazy, keep people out of the gym and out of shape, all that sort of stuff. So it, it's kind of difficult to talk about the High Priestess because this is one of those cards I have a hard time connecting with in the tarot in general. Obviously, I know the basic understanding of it, but it's one of those uh, really feminine cards, and I just don't come from a feminine standpoint, so it's very difficult. It always feels like I'm talking out of my ass a little bit, like I'm talking about things that I don't understand, and I just want that to be out there up front, right? Um, I don't like individuals who claim to speak on things they don't know about with false certainty. Okay, so I just want that little caveat to be out there. What does the card mean? Um, this is the idea of innate, which is like internal knowledge. General, it's very feminine spun, but it's again, I've talked about it before, the animus and the anima, all that stuff, in gender. So we all have a little bit of this in us, but it's the idea of ancestral knowledge almost, and ancestral is kind of a dumb word, but like the knowledge you know in your DNA, right? Um, this card looks like a priestess, a young woman with a crescent moon by her feet, guarding a temple. Well, two pillars. If you dig into the tarot a little bit deeper, there's a B and a J on the pillars, which mean Boaz and Jachin, which are sons of King Solomon. So this alludes to King Solomon's temple. A little bit too deep to tell you any more than that right now, other than King Solomon's temple is kind of regarded to be a storehouse of great wisdom and great magic and things like that. This high priestess is associated with that and is almost kind of the gatekeeper to that knowledge, right? Um, yeah, so basically anything internal, very emotional card, very it's naive almost in the way that the magician is. I said that, or I've already spoken about the magician saying that I feel the magician is like putting on airs, like the same thing with the high priestess. The high priestess is just now understanding, coming into her womanhood and understanding what is going to be asked of her, and it's a great amount of knowledge, but it's also a great amount of responsibility, and so there's also kind of an underlining sadness with this card. Getting into the nitty gritty of what this means in a health sense. This is how you feel internally about the weight loss journey or the putting on muscle journey or your health journey, whatever. It is how you feel internally, not so much the external, right? So we're not focusing on how your body's changing to the physical eye and things like that. We're talking about how you feel inside. And there's also a sort of, again, feminine knowledge of like, I'm just going to use the word man catching, like of attracting, right? But it's almost a deeper understanding of like, you know, that it's not just your body, it's something else inside of you. And you know that by doing these things, by exercising, by eating right, all of this stuff, you are enhancing that. Not just the physical aspects of your outer body, which the magician covers, but also kind of these internal workings and this magic that goes on that makes you more of an attractive person on a deep level. I know that's really convoluted. I'm sorry. This is, like I said, a difficult one for me to explain. So, what that looks like is going to the gym and realizing, oh, I'm not just looking better, I'm feeling better. And I'm feeling like I'm looking better. Does that, it's all, but confidence is just the tip of it. Really, it goes down almost into the, health, wellness ideas of almost linking the physical to the spiritual if you're a spiritual person, or to the deep psychology, which I talk about, right? The unconscious mind. The Zoldrake uses this against us by, again, convincing us that it's unattainable, convincing us that all we're going to feel internally when we exercise and when we work out is pain, right? That's a huge one. Like that, if you ask people, like, why don't you go to the gym? They're like, oh, I'm going to be sore. Or why don't you go to the gym? Oh, I'm going to feel out of place and I don't know what I'm doing and I'm going to look stupid and all of these things, right? So the internal feeling of pain from being sore and hungry, that is associated with the kind of inner workings of what the priestess covers, and the idea of that sort of realm. Now, that's a lie, right? When you will feel sore and you will feel hungry, obviously, but there's this underlying undercurrent of feeling better and feeling accomplished and feeling looser and feeling like you're not dying every time that you're taking a step, just feeling accomplished also. So all these things rolled into one is, it's really that health and wellness thing that every, like, to be crass, white girl yoga teacher is trying to sell, right? The inner you, the inner peace, the inner balance, the inner harmony, right? It's that. Um, Going a little bit deeper, it's also the, and this is a complex one, okay? This is so convoluted. I'm so sorry. But, so there's different ways to attract a partner, right? We're going to sexuality here a little bit. And in the vein of what does the Zoldrake use against us, or how does the Zoldrake use this against us? Again, speaking from a heteronormative standpoint, like, women don't need to exercise as much as men do. Like, there's this odd thing where females can just attract men even if they are out of shape, even if they are whatever. Now, obviously, morbidly obese is difficult, uh, but there's even a niche for that. So what I'm trying to say is, it's almost overconfidence that I don't have to be healthy, right? I don't have to go to the gym. And if all you're worried about is, like, being attractive to the opposite sex and all of that stuff, the high priestess energy teaches you to kind of work around that. Putting this in more of a male perspective, because I have not been talking about that at all. This is the idea of, if you've kind of got game, like, there are big guys out there. There are, dudes who just have game. Like, they're just very charming. They're very charismatic. I saw a video not too long ago of somebody saying that, like, the most dangerous person is the person who was really big and then, like, or really unhealthy and then got back into shape, and they've had to learn that game without having physical characteristics to back it up, and now they have the physical characteristics to back it up, so they're very well rounded. Okay, the Zoldrake uses this overconfidence to be like, oh, you don't need to work out, like, you can accomplish your goals, everything that you need, and still be eating and doing all this crazy shit that's just above and beyond and making you sick, right? That's the vibe there. How do we fight against the Zoldrake using this energy is very much the opposite of that. Realizing that this confidence is and should be attached to weight, not just your weight, but your physical health. And that if you're a person who is kind of in that Zoldyck trap of like, oh, well, why do I need to work out? I can attract anyone I want. I'm fine, male or female or otherwise. Then understanding that that power would even increase further with, you know, proper proper health. Um, yeah, I hate this one so much. Whenever I pull this card in a reading, it's just like, and here we fucking go, because like, it's almost a black hole. It's when I'm pulling was for a card for someone where it's like a very feminine person, and I'm like, and I start to talk about it, like, oh yeah, you don't have to talk anymore. I got it. Like, but when I'm trying to explain it to like another, like a male querent or someone who's very heavily, like me, it's difficult, right? Have I said enough? I think so. The gatekeeper of knowledge, right? Also, I would be remiss if I didn't mention like childbirth and things like that. There's an there's an issue now of like, this is so fucked up to say, but like larger women having children is kind of, it's more unhealthy than it is, or it's more dangerous than a healthy person having a baby and things like that. Just keep that in mind as well. And then just keeping yourself healthy if child rearing is on your bucket list, to do that correctly and well. You probably tell I'm getting uncomfortable because I hate stepping out of the realm and talking about that stuff, right? For reasons already mentioned. But yeah, you can get into that frame of mind of, feeling better inside, um, helping your psychology out, kind of making health and wellness almost a spiritual experience for you as well, which does happen, right? Um, One thing that I'll close on, I know this one's really long, and it's something that just hit me today as I've been working, is I'm convinced that as people gain weight, they um, sort of lock in memories, or that's the wrong way to say that. They sort of suppress memories associated with that weight gain. So I honestly think that as you take off pounds and you take off, yeah, fat, like you almost re-experience traumas in a way. Everyone, when you eat and things like that to avoid your problems, that did do some good. You did avoid something, but now you're having to re-experience it as you lose weight. And I'm not saying that's a 1-to-1 ratio, like this fat cell is equal to this memory over here, but you do feel like a different person, and it is a little bit more stress when you lose weight. I don't know how to put that other than that. Like, you're re-experiencing stress and working through things as you lose weight, which is a really internal struggle, and thus covered by the High Priestess energy. I'm definitely going to end it here. All right.